Yeah, I need a new computer.
I thought you just got a new computer.
Well, I got this laptop and it works fine, but with all of the stuff that it's doing for the podcast, it's starting to tax the processor. It can only handle so much. And so
Got
it's it's starting to hit to that point where now anytime I switch around between views, it goes processor, your CPU is in high usage. You need to scale back. I'm not getting the and some of it could also be the bandwidth too. I'm not getting as much bandwidth as I was hoping as I should be getting at times. So I don't know if that's processing or bandwidth or what. But all right. Um yeah, you ready to rock this boat?
Let's do this thing.
Okay. We're going to start in 3, 2, 1. Cue the music. Welcome everybody to Geekvice episode 182, proving any vice with enough geek can become a virtue. My name's Morph. That man's Kip. Good evening, Kip.
Good evening.
How are you doing this evening?
Doing great. I'm just sitting around eating Russell Stover's coconut. I don't know what you call them.
Wait a second,
Candy bars.
aren't you supposed to be on this CrossFit, you only eat healthy stuff kick?
You gotta live, you know.
That's what I like to hear. That's always my biggest argument whenever somebody throws out there that I don't eat healthy enough. I just look at them and go, everything is good in moderation.
That's right. Yep.
So me eating an entire bag of Oreos when we play D&D is perfectly fine as long as I don't do that every weekend.
Well, yeah, moderation. You didn't eat 2 bags, so
That is right. That is so right. And yes, I do eat a lot of Oreos. I usually bring Oreos or Twizzlers, but a lot of the times it's Oreos. And yes, I eat a lot of them. So
and there's nothing wrong with that.
no, no, there's not. You gotta have your snacks when you're playing D&D. That's just the way it is. And that is probably a pretty good place to start. Is last weekend we had our big our D&D campaign session,
Our
and
D&D extravaganza.
yeah, and other than the crazy ass storms when we left, um, I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't call it an uneventful session. I thought it was going to be uneventful,
Well,
and at times it kind of was. We really only ran into the one battle, so I guess we should take this all back. I do this again. I talk about this stuff like every one of the listeners were sitting there at the table listening to us, watching us play. Um, so this session of D&D, we had had our big fight in the way station, basically the waypoint, uh, supply house, whatever. We found our secret trap door that led to a tunnel, and it was the middle of the night. We knew that somebody had run off, and we needed to chase this lizard man, and we knew we had to go fairly quickly, so we didn't have time to rest and get a full rest and get a lot of health back. I was already hurting. Um,
the whole
Portia,
team's hurting.
yeah, pretty much the whole team was in shambles, and so we still didn't. We role played it well, I thought, and took off going, even though we kind of Oh, I guess we also ran into the point of us being encumbered because we stole so much gold.
So, to paint a picture for everybody listening, the first half an hour of the campaign was people trying to figure out exactly how much coin they could take with them that didn't slow them down.
Yeah.
It was crazy. We're all greedy.
Yes.
And so we finally decided that we're just going to dump some off in some crates at the bottom of the ladder in this tunnel system and hope nobody comes along and takes it. We'll see how well that works out for us.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna come back there to get it to begin with. So
I don't think so either. That's why everybody kept their gold.
yeah, everyone just left. We found gold, we found electrum, we found silver, and we found copper. And we pretty much kept everything except the copper. Everyone left the copper.
Oh, I left the silver as well.
Oh, did you leave the silver as well?
Yeah.
And I think Julie, Portia, our half elf, or not half elf, um, our halfling left the because if she would have taken the copper and the silver, she would have ended up being like doubly encumbered, heavily
Yeah,
encumbered. I
she was
think.
still encumbered, so her
Yeah.
movement was reduced. And honestly, when we got out of the tunnel, we ended up in a swamp.
Yeah.
So Portia is a halfling who's carrying more weight than she's supposed to. I'm surprised she just didn't sink into the bog to never be seen again.
Right. Right. Yeah. I was kind of surprised, Brad, especially since it's Brad's wife. I think he was being nice to her.
I think so too.
But yeah, we run out of this tunnel. We get into this like swamp area, and we've got to try to figure out which way to go. There's no markings on the ground that we can see. We can't roll worth shit to figure out to see anything, and it's the middle of the night, so it's like, well, we're pretty much screwed. We have no idea where we're going. We have no idea where to go, and we're just gonna have to fake it. So we end up figuring out that there's three directions we could go, and I should, when we talk about these things, I should have my notebook here so I could actually go through the notes. But so we could go like southwest, we could go northwest, or we can go
Northeast.
northeast. Yeah, and northeast would take us back towards where we had come from, or like back towards up past the tunnel and back towards the way station. Southwest would take us towards the coast and back towards Waterdeep, which was the town we came from. And northwest was really the only other option left for us. So we decided to go northwest. And I mean, we had the worst time rolling for anything to notice our two tracker type people being up in the front of the group trying to make sure there was no bad guys coming. Yeah, they pretty much sucked at that.
Yeah, they rolled well enough. Well, it happened every time. One rolled so poorly that she started to wander off the trail, and the other one rolled just well enough to get her back on the trail, but not to notice anything.
Right. Right.
Which
And
was bad because we got attacked by the trash heap from Fraggle Rock.
I was going to go with Swamp Thing or Man Thing, depending on which, if you're a Marvel or DC. Some big thing in the swamp just popped up next to us and started attacking us, and then another one popped up, and we found out after the fact that two of them were actually combined, and they had a crap ton of hit points. And
Yeah.
we tried to just go off and leave them, but Kip over here with his big half orc decided he was going to stick around and try to cut this thing up.
Well, I was trapped. Okay, so we were climbing over this 5 foot diameter log when this thing popped up. So I decided I'm going to run along the log and do like a stage dive onto this thing and, try to take it down with one fell swoop. And of course I failed. Of course I ended up prone. And then when I stood, I was kind of pinned against the log. So there was no escape. I was there for the duration.
Yeah. Yeah, you were. Well, and then you got. Every time the creature attacked it, it would restrain people, and basically grapple you, and like at one point you got sucked in, like it pulled it inside of it, and you had to claw your way out. You did a nice little Drax move and cut your way out from the inside.
I did. The sad thing about it, and yes, I'm going to bring it up, is even inside the thing where I could barely move my arms, my character did more damage than anybody else on my team could possibly do.
Yes. Well, and okay, so we're going to talk about this a little bit, and it'll be a little bit more the mechanics side of things for this game. But so Brad, our DM, and the only reason I'm going to say this because I know he doesn't listen to this show.
Oh, you go for the bus?
I'm not going to throw him under the bus, but he has his things that he likes. So we started this with 5th Ed. So everyone set up their characters based off of 5th Ed rules.
Mm-hmm.
Monks' attack modifier or damage modifier comes from their dexterity. Is in 5th Ed rules. Well, after we played for a little bit, Brad felt like that was too overpowered or didn't fit schematically right, and it really should come from strength modifier. He did this after the point at which I leveled up and got to increase one of my stats. So I had increased my dex by 2, which gave me another damage point. So I should actually have a +4 to my damage. And now he changed it to strength, which I only have a +1. So if
I
he
wasn't there for that.
Yeah, if he would have made that switch beforehand, then I could have applied a bonus to my strength and at least gotten me up to a +2. But my strength, a monk's abilities through D&D 5th Ed is kind of like a rogue's abilities. It's finesse strikes, not strength. So it's all based off of your dexterity. The higher dexterity, the more you can hit and the more damage you'll do. Brad changed that up on me and now has kind of underpowered my character to where I can, until I need to get another level or 2 before it starts evening itself out, because I'll be able to just attack that many more times. So if I hit, then I can hit 3, 4, 5 times, and I do little bits of damage 5 times, which will equal out to 1 of your hits. But right now, I'm kind of screwed.
I was wondering, because if you look at if you wrote down all the damage that we did in order that we did it,
yeah,
it was ridiculous. It'd be like 2 points of damage, 3 points of damage. Then it got to me, it'd be like 15 points of damage, and then it go back down to 2 points of damage and 4 points of damage, and they got back to me, it's like 13 points of damage. So we are unbalanced.
Yes. Yeah, and he's done that to all the characters. So even like our character Joe, who's the rogue, her modifier is also strength based instead of dex based. He's doing that based off, that's what Pathfinder was, and that's what, or that 3.5 thing. He's kind of taken a mix between 5th Ed and 3.5 and kind of combined them together a little bit. And which is fine, except it just tweaked how the characters were built. I would have evened out a little bit more on my strength dex so that I could maybe not hit quite I wouldn't have as much. I mean, I've got a +7 to hit, so the odds of me hitting are pretty high. I just can't do any damage.
Yeah, you can't do any damage. It's bizarre
The
because
most damage I can do with one attack is 5 points.
yeah. Well, and you've got the Fury of Blows, which kind of
Yeah.
increases that a little bit, but I only do one just basic hit, and I do double digits. And if my guy crits, I've done as much as 25 points of damage, and
Yeah. Well, and in
it's
this last game,
one person who could do that.
yeah, in the last game, I critted twice in the battle. In one of was I think it was against that swamp creature.
It
I
was.
had 2 critical hits and still only did. I mean, each of those were only. I don't even think I hit 10 points. I think I
No, I
had
think it
8.
was I think they were both 8 or something like that. It was,
Yeah.
yeah. So of course I made fun of all my teammates all night long.
As you should.
Yeah, but
And and I mean, and that's the thing. And I've thought about talking to Brad about it and seeing if I can't, like, if he'll let me just maybe switch one, give restat him a little bit since he did make that change. But it's kind of one of those. Brad has a plan, and like, he plans things out so far ahead that I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna roll with him and trust him, because I really think down the road my character will balance back out. It's just at these earlier levels, because at the next level I do just my punching fist goes up from a D4 to a D6. So that right there is going to be at least a little bit better.
yeah, and I really think Joe, the character Joe, I'd like to have seen her to be a little bit more high powered, because
Yeah.
it seems to be like with her personality, she wants to be up front and fighting, but it's hard to do when you're not doing much damage.
Well, and she's also a level behind all of us. So, because she's still level 3 and the rest of us are all level 4.
Yeah.
So once she gets that level 4 and she gets those those extra hit points that come with level 4, that's going to do her a world of good, because she'll be able to, like, then she'll be able to take a little bit more of it. So, and she's starting to realize that her sneak attack is where she's the most powerful, and getting those extra dice to roll for sneak attack. Now, of course, this last time we just all rolled like crap whenever we were doing anything, so there was a lot of missing and crap like that. But I'd also, so to get back to the story, we did make it through. We made it past the swamp creature. We were able to defeat him. We saved Kip from being Kip's character from being swallowed by this thing, and we move on. We ended up stopping a little early from in the night, because we kind of ran to a spot we were going to end up in another battle, and didn't have enough time to finish it. Plus, it was storming like crazy outside, so we all kind of got out of there. I'm sure you guys, like you and your Holly, were probably soaked on your way running to the car.
It really wasn't that bad, and there was a few times on the highway where a gust of wind came up and pushed us pretty far
Yeah.
to the side. But the more north we got, the less rain, and then finally we got to a spot where we had drive pavement for the entire drive home.
Oh, really?
From that point on.
Huh.
We got all settled in, turned on the TV. Maybe 10 minutes after we got home, the storm kicked up and our power went out.
Yeah. So I left just a little bit I left just a little bit after you, and it was torrential downpour. Like, I mean, enough to where it was like I couldn't see my car from the front door of his house.
Really?
Yeah. Like coming down that hard, and Brad's like, "Do you want a bag for your?" Because I had my binder, I had my book. Like he's like, "That stuff's gonna get soaked." So he gave me a trash bag or a little plastic bag, grocery bag, to put my stuff in, and I just ran to the car and jumped in there. I was pretty soaked, but the worst part was for me it was driving west. So I had to go west from Brad's house to hit K7 to go south, and man, that was brutal. Like it was enough that I turned onto college, and I look up and I'm like, I can't actually see the curbs or the road. Like I know I'm on the road, but I can't see where I'm at, and I know I'm coming to a bridge to go over the highway. I'm gonna go really fucking slow, and in the middle of this road, I don't care if there's anyone else coming, because at least I know I'm not gonna run off the bridge. It's like, because I couldn't see. But once I was able to turn and start heading south, then the rain was just pelting the side of my car instead of the front, and I could at least see enough to be able to get home. Once I got far enough south, then it was just rain, and it was little gusts of wind, but not as bad as up at his house. So it was kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
it must have got drastically worse after we left.
Yeah,
Because it was raining
absolutely.
hard, but it wasn't enough that I was like even noticed being wet when I got into the car.
Oh wow, yeah, it got way worse then, because Erin and her friend didn't even go home. Like they didn't even go back to Lawrence. They uh, Julie said they went to the end of the street and turned around and came back.
Yeah, that's what she said.
So
I
yeah,
don't
it
know.
was it
And
was
we
pretty
got
crazy.
lucky because the way we have our um, house locked up,
Yeah.
we lose power and can't open the garage door. We can't get into our house.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if we waited like more than another 10 minutes, we would have probably had to go to a hotel.
Oh jeez. Oh yeah, that'd have been bad. That would have been bad. But so something else before we get off the D&D topic. I like what Brad has done with our when we hit 0 hit points. I like this idea that we now have like there's you're not knocked unconscious when you hit 0 hit points. You end up then feeding off of life points, which are a lot smaller, and you get like points of exhaustion, which are bad, but it means you still can do stuff in the fight. I kind of like that, especially with this group, since we have nobody to heal us, and none of us have any healing potions because we've used them all.
Yep.
So, like even in this last fight, I was knocked down to 0 hit points relatively quickly because I didn't have very many to begin with. But I was still able to at least, I could come up with things to do to try to help the group without having to get in the fray and risk taking another hit. So I thought that was kind of good. I liked that idea instead of somebody just sitting there and being completely out of it and not being able to do anything. When you're knocked unconscious and you don't have anything to heal you with, then you're just kind of stuck.
Yeah.
So especially without a healer in the group. So I like what Brad's done with that, and I don't think that's a fifth ed thing. I think that's a house rule thing that he's come up with all his DMing that he does.
Well, I think part of the obstacles for our DM is figuring out how to house rule some things so our dumbasses don't get killed on a regular basis.
That is true. Well, but could you imagine like what would happen with our group? Like if I would have gone down in that fight, if I would have just gone down like normal rules and knocked unconscious at 0, there would have been no way for like somebody would have had to like pick me up and carry me, but I'd be done. Because
Yeah.
we're in the middle of the swamp. There's no healing potion store sitting around there. There's no, shop in the middle of nowhere that you can go buy some potions off of. So
Yeah.
I like the fact that he basically makes it so you're not dead and you're not knocked unconscious and you can still heal. And I was able to just take a full rest. We were able to set up camp, do a full rest, and basically get back up to full, which I thought was great. So, really cool idea by our awesome GM.
Absolutely. Or the campaign would have been over a long time ago, and we'd have new characters.
Yeah, pretty much. Which I'm actually thinking, I think I'm gonna go with a monk cleric. I don't know. Can I be
Like
a
plan
monk
on
cleric?
killing off your guy now?
I don't know. He's gonna die eventually.
Throw yourself on your sword, call
That's
it a day.
that's the hell the way this campaign's been going for me. I'm gonna die eventually. That's just the way it's gonna be. Like, it is not going well for this dwarf monk.
I think eventually my character is just going to get up in the middle of the night and just kill everybody in the party. Getting tired of being left all by himself.
Yeah, just so we can get on with it. So you also went this weekend and saw the movie Valerian.
I did.
What were your thoughts on Valerian, the movie that apparently nobody else went and saw?
Well, there was probably in the theater we saw it in 10 other people in there. So I am not surprised the box office was not great for that reason. But sadly, people did not go see it because I think it's worth the money to go see. I'm not going to tell you it's as good as an Avengers. It's nowhere near as good as like Wonder Woman or anything like that. But it's a fun movie. Gorgeous movie. I mean, the world, the city of 1,000 planets that they created is fantastic. The CGI creatures are well done and it's kind of seamless with the live action. So that part is good. That's weird. Anyway, the story is what you would kind of expect. You know, the way the script ran with the story and all that is. You watch the trailer, it's exactly what you expect. Not like a super quotable movie or anything like that. It's not Shakespeare by any stretch of the imagination. But it's adequate enough.
Yeah.
I'm not painting a great picture of this movie. I don't want people to get the idea that, wow, this is something you really have to see. But I think if you were even a little bit interested, you should go see it in the theater. It's worth it for that. We got a 3D viewing of it, which I thought, okay, judging by the trailers, 3D is going to be out freaking standing. I don't think it made any difference. There was none of those. There was none of those moments you were like, ooh, or anything like that. It was just a movie. So
Right.
don't spend extra to see it in 3D. It won't do anything for you. I like this Dane DeHaan kid, if that's how you say his last name,
Yeah.
who plays Valerian. I like the kid. I thought he did a really good job. I bought it. You know, total smart ass, really good at what he does. The whole time I'm watching it going, he's kind of like this universe's version of a Han Solo kind of thing.
Okay.
It was my impression of him. You know, and then the girl who played Laureline, Cara de blah blah blah, from Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I thought she was pretty stiff in Suicide Squad, so I had no real expectations for her in Valerian, but she has improved. I'm not going to say she's a great actress yet, but I thought she did a pretty good job. There were some scenes where you're like, you really need to work at this. But there were other scenes where you're like, well, she's starting to get it. She had decent comedic timing and things like that for this movie. So I read a lot of reviews saying terrible script, bad acting, couldn't tell what was going on, those kinds of things. I'm going to tell you, you know what's going on the whole time. The acting was not that bad. The script, not great, but was good. I don't know. I think the critics were expecting something else, so they trashed the movie.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth seeing. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about it, but basically, I thought it was going to be a chase scene for the entire movie based on the trailer, but it really wasn't, thankfully. There were some, like Rihanna was really good. She needed a bigger role in that movie, honestly. It's the second movie I've seen her in, and she just brings it. She's very good at this. Clive Owen was fantastic as usual.
Yeah.
There's some creatures that are just kind of quirky, I guess you could say, that brought good laughs to the show that it needed. So everything you go and see a sci-fi movie for was there. So I would recommend going and seeing it. If you really want to see a good sci-fi movie, I'd go see this. I mean, if you're worried about, the script wasn't that great, Star Wars' script wasn't that great, and people love Star Wars. Come on,
right, right.
Yes.
Well,
So,
and I think some of this, is the expectation of it. I think a lot of critics expected this thing to be just utterly amazing, and it didn't blow them away like they anticipated, and therefore it ends up feeling like a letdown. I would also say, so like this movie, movies like Dunkirk opened the weekend with like $50 million, and this movie opened with 17. So opening weekend was really shitty. But I would also say they made a mistake in this. This is where it comes down to, I think, movie producers and publishers picking a date for a movie and not looking at what else is happening on that date. So this movie is a big sci-fi movie, and it opens the same weekend as San Diego Comic-Con, where that is the largest geek event in the United States. It is the largest
outside of this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Outside of Geekvice. And you open a movie that is specifically created for geeks, and you put this up against San Diego Comic-Con. Everyone that was at San Diego Comic-Con was probably too exhausted by the end of the day to go find a movie theater to go see this movie in, or they're just like, we'll just catch it next weekend. So I think they missed the boat on that, and if this movie would have opened a week later or a week earlier, I think you would have seen better numbers. Now that people have gone, some people have gone and seen it, it's like what you're saying. Now people are going, well, you're starting to see more of the reviews that are like, it's not terrible, it looks really good. So now the expectation is a little bit lower. I think you're going to see some people go see it, but you've lost out on that big buzz for opening weekend, which is what really matters for these movies. It doesn't, this movie could be one of those that ends up with a great cult following, and the DVD sales are through the freaking roof.
Yeah.
A la Fifth Element.
Well, if you liked Fifth Element, you'll like Valerian.
Yeah.
To be honest, it kind of has that same feel.
Well,
It's not as funny as Fifth Element.
isn't it the same writer and director?
Yeah, Luc Besson. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's similar. I mean, it has that same universal feel that
Yeah.
Fifth Element did. Another thing that hurt them is people who are just movie goers
Hmm.
probably went and saw Dunkirk.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, Dunkirk got glowing reviews because there's a lot of emoting. There's a lot of emotion in that movie, so critics are going to eat that up.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to sit there and have your muscles tense for 2 hours while people are getting blown up on a beach, watch Valerian. You know,
Yeah.
at least you get to see a model in a bikini. You get to see a lot of cool creatures. You get to see an entire planet of basically alien-looking supermodels, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Um, think, what was that crappy movie that everybody liked?
You're gonna
Dang.
have to narrow it down.
The one with all the blue creatures in it, where the guy
Avatar.
Avatar.
James Cameron's Avatar.
Think Avatar, but they're not blue and they don't have that weird dog face.
Mm.
Yeah. So
All
an
right.
entire planet of, people who look like they should be on the runway. That's kind of what the whole movie is centered around, is that race of people. And
Cool.
Valerian and Laureline saving the day in their own way, which is, one is freewheeling and wants to break all the rules, and the other one, even though seems like is the freewheeling type, doesn't seem to want to break all the rules. And they have their infighting and their moments, but I don't know, it just worked. It just works. I can't give you like this glowing, like, oh, this was the best part, or the script is so fantastic, or whatever. The movie just works.
Yeah.
And it really works in the theater because of that universe that they created for us is fantastic. And
seeing that on the big screen is probably got to be. I mean, that's what makes that movie. The visual effects and the CGI that is in that movie is gonna make. I mean, that's why you need to see it in the big screen. That's
absolutely.
See it on that gigantic screen is gonna be way better than than seeing it on a TV at home. No matter what size that TV is you have at home, unless you got a movie theater in your house. I guess you could have. That is possible now. You could have a movie projector in your house.
Yeah. Well, if you do, invite me over. I want to see a movie at your house.
Yeah.
But see it in the theater before it goes away. It's worth it. In fact, I want to see it again in the theater before it goes away. But we'll probably see Baby Driver this weekend. I don't know if we'll get the Valerian in this weekend or not. But yeah. So even if I did not convince you with my original talk about it, go see it. It's worth it. You will not be disappointed.
There you go. Well, and speaking of movies, and we've mentioned San Diego Comic-Con, there's been a crap ton of movies and TV shows come out of San Diego Comic-Con. There's been some comic book news too, but I honestly felt like the comic book news was weak compared to some of the TV and movie stuff that came out. And a lot of, I will also say, I was listening to a few other people talk about, in some other podcasts, talking about San Diego Comic-Con, and they made a really good point. The San Diego Comic-Con this year was kind of just it was just there. There wasn't, a lot of the information that came out of there was pretty much you already knew that it was coming. There was no, oh, there's this. Some of the trailers and stuff were new, but you had already seen a trailer for it. Justice League was kind of one of those.
Right.
That trailer they put out San Diego Comic-Con, really good, but we'd also had a trailer before, so it was kind of the second trailer. Your thoughts on that on the Justice League trailer?
The Justice League, the first one,
Yeah.
kind of gave you that I think all the one-liners. It was kind of like a one-liners trailer, especially for
Yeah.
Aquaman.
Yep.
And it kind of painted the picture as just more fun than anything.
Mm-hmm.
The trailer that got released for San Diego Comic-Con went more towards the seriousness of the subject matter they're going to be covering.
Yeah.
Um, the death of Superman, those kinds of things are in the trailer.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think this second trailer makes the movie look more appealing, at least to
Yeah.
me.
Well, I think it adds. I think it gives it more depth. I think you because if they take and here's the thing that kind of frustrates me with trailers. Like the first trailer was quippy one-liners, very a little more lighthearted. This one was a little more serious. Now, if they could take the stuff from both of those trailers and put them all into the movie, or put both of those things, those clips, into the movie, I think you would end up with a very well-rounded movie. You need seriousness and good quips. You need good comic relief to relieve that tension. And I think that's where some of the DC movies have failed in the past is they either get so dark and serious that the little quips and one-liners they put in there don't offset it enough to make it a balanced movie, or they make the movie so damn cheesy that whatever seriousness you throw in there, you can't take it serious. So I'm hoping that they take a little bit of this and bring them together. The big question is, what did you think about the very end of the trailer?
I think it's Superman.
So, for those of you that
That's
haven't
what,
seen the trailer, you need to go watch it. Um,
because you see his shoulder and it's red, and I'm thinking that's the cape that drapes over his shoulder.
it's possible. It's
That's
possible.
that's my guess. But before the final scene, it's Alfred in the Batcave, and they did the Jurassic Park thing with the glass of water where the little ripples hit, and
Hmm.
I'm thinking, well, whatever it is, it's heavy. But then when he goes, we was hoping you'd come or whatever he said at the end there,
Yeah.
it's like,
He said you'd come.
yeah, it's like, is that Superman? Was that the thump when he landed? I'm not sure.
So, as a comic book person, there is one other person that is missing from the Justice League in these movies, and he is in the Supergirl TV show, and that's Martian Manhunter. He's he's a green Martian, and he is
a
basically,
manhunter.
yeah, well,
Oh,
he's basically the equivalent of Superman. He is super strong. He can fly. He can even shapeshift, so he can look like other people. He kind of is like in the Marvel universe. I kind of equate him to like a Vision type character. Um, Very, very smart, all-knowing, otherworldly being, and looks alien as hell too. So it's a possibility that if they don't have that, maybe they don't bring Superman back for the Justice League, and maybe that's Martian Manhunter. Um, it. I would like, on my honest opinion, I would like for them not to have Superman in this Justice League movie.
okay.
I would like for them to keep him dead for one movie. I know they
And
won't. Huh?
and why do you feel this way?
Because I think it would change the dynamic of the movie, and it would catch everybody off guard, and it would make DC the talking point of the movie, of all movies again. It would put DC on the map. It would be doing something that nobody in their right mind would think they would do.
Okay.
They can still have Superman in the movie without him being alive. They can have flashback scenes. They can have some different things that they could work in there where Henry Cavill is still in the movie, but not as the current Superman, not a resurrected Superman. And I think I think that would just be honestly, I think that would just be awesome. I would love to see them completely go off script and not do a standard by the book movie. Take a chance, because you've sucked at everything else. The only movie you've succeeded on is Wonder Woman, and that Justice League trailer was proof that they realized Wonder Woman was amazing and all their other movies sucked. Because if you watch that trailer, Wonder Woman is in the forefront of everything. She's the leader on of the Justice League, not Batman, not Superman, not any of the other big Aquaman or Cyborg or the Flash. No, it's Wonder Woman, and I think that was a conscious effort to at least show it that way in the trailer because of how well her movie did compared to everyone else's.
And I'm going to agree to a point, and that is, I do think she is going to be one of the people that steal the movie from Batman.
Yeah.
I'm going to surprise you with my second one, and that I think it's going to be Aquaman. I think Jason Momoa is so charismatic that he's going to chew up scenery when he's on the screen.
I hope so.
I
hope so, because Aquaman character is just, I mean, he is made fun of constantly, and if they can make him, I mean, if Jason Momoa can take him and fully, like, bring him to life to where people really like him, that would be another amazing thing.
I agree.
It's I mean that's a tall order. Something else that I had read about a possible person showing up at the end could also be possibly, maybe, throw out there, Green Lantern.
That would be something.
I mean, obviously it's not going to be Ryan Reynolds. Pretty sure he's made it abundantly clear he's never going to be Green Lantern again. But, I mean, I could see them, that Green Lantern is another member of the Justice League that hasn't been, his movie failed, and so he hasn't been in anything, so.
I don't know. I like the way they did it. I like the fact that we're throwing guesses out there.
Yeah, I think they've done a good job.
Accomplished for them. I think the trailer sold the movie to me.
Yeah.
I was going to see it anyway. You have to see it anyway, I think. But after watching that trailer, it's like, well, now I'm excited to see this. And hopefully I'm not disappointed. But if the trailer isn't any indication, like you said, Wonder Woman's going to carry the movie.
And as she should.
As she should, because I'm going to admit it, when they announced Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, I was like, what, really? A freaking supermodel, that's all we needed. But she proved me wrong. She's fantastic.
There you go.
And we watched the trailer like 3 or 4 times, and there's that one scene where she does the thing with the bracers and everything, and then she kind of flips her hair back, and my wife was totally into that. She's like, oh, look at that hair flip. It's like, yep. Yep. So, yeah, I think she's going to be the main superhero, and I think Jason Momoa is going to be, I'm trying to think who it reminds me of, but maybe like a Bruce Willis type, where he does the dirty work, he really helps out, but he also gives you the quips, the one-liners.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Light.
Yeah, like a Bruce Willis from Die Hard type thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So if that comes to fruition, I think it's going to be a great movie.
Yeah. Well, we're running out of time, so we'll run through some of these a little bit quicker. Um, the Gifted. Have you seen the trailer for that new TV show? And it's X-Men TV show.
Yeah, I have, and I'm curious.
Yeah, it
I'm
looks
not sure
good.
the trailer did much for me, but I'm curious just the idea of the.
Yeah. Well, and I like that the trailer actually came through and kind of threw out some of the names of who the characters they're going to have in it. So it's going to be
Yeah.
kind of fun. Like I think it's going to be, it's one of those I want to check out just for no other reason than I'm a huge X-Men fan and I'd like to see what else they're going to do. The other one is Marvel's Inhumans on ABC. This one I'm cautiously I want to see it because I like Inhumans. I like Inhumans for the same reason I like the X-Men. I like people with mutant powers that make them different and the conflict that that entails. I'm a little worried that the Inhumans TV show is just not going to that it's going to fall flat in the first season and it's really going to hurt it a lot like Agents of Shield. You
Yeah.
know, Agents of Shield had that same I think it was the second season for Agents of Shield, or it was one of those right before the Winter Soldier movie, where it once that happened, the Agents of Shield was able to pick back up and launch itself from that. I'm afraid that Inhumans is going to have its same problem, where it's just not gonna, it's going to need something else to happen to really boost it. I don't know. We'll see. Um, the Defenders I thought was really good. The If you've seen the normal trailer, that trailer's good. I recommend checking out the extended trailer. It gives you it's narrated by Stan Lee, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I love that. And the way he talked about it, the way he described the heroes in it, being flawed and all this other stuff, it's worth the watch.
Yeah, yeah,
And it
and
makes you excited for the Defenders. It really does. It just puts all four of those characters in a different light.
yeah, yeah, and like you had said before, the Defenders isn't gonna break any new ground. It's gonna be very formulaic. The characters, your characters are your heroes are gonna get together. They're not gonna trust each other. They're not gonna want to work together. Something's gonna have to come and bring them together. We know that's gonna happen, but I think the fun part with the Defenders is watching that ride. I hope that and I hope that Danny Rand can be a little bit better than he was in Iron Fist.
I'm not
Um,
I'm not holding out hope there. Even the trailer made him look ineffective, didn't it?
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
there's one scene where he's kind of getting it handed to him. It's like this guy just sucks. They need to get rid of him, even though they renewed Iron Fist for a second season.
yeah, they
Hopefully,
did.
they do a better job this time.
I don't know. One that I thought was really interesting was Bright. Have you seen the trailer for Bright? It's a Netflix original series, and it combines the like fantasy races with like a cop show. So you have orcs and elves
Yeah,
um, and those kind of creatures, those races in with humans in a real world, like modern city type setting, and I thought that was really kind of neat. Um, I'm kind of curious. It comes out in December, so I'm kind of curious to see what that looks like. But
I am too. And the trailer, I like trailers that give you just enough to keep you interested, but not give everything away. This was a trailer where I wish it would have went a little bit further than it did.
yeah,
Because I was like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, that's it. I wanted a little bit more. I want a
yeah,
little bit more of a reason to watch it.
yeah. But that might actually work. Maybe they'll throw out another one before December, and that'll hook you in, and then you're gonna have to watch it. And it's Netflix, so I
Yeah, and it
mean,
better be good too, because I'll still be in a depression after I binge watch Stranger Things 2 and have nothing else to watch.
yeah, because I know what you're gonna be doing on Halloween when you're handing out candy. You're gonna be watching Stranger Things. Well, you'll probably already be done with it by then, but It comes out October 27th, which I think is awesome that it comes out just a few days before Halloween. And man, does that look! I mean, it just looks good.
It does. I like that it's tied to another game. This time it's a video game,
Yeah.
but it's another game, and those kids didn't seem to age, did they?
No.
As,
No. Well,
that's
and
you.
I'm curious to see what like how long, is this going to be something that happens right after the fact? I mean, it's I thought it was good. I can't wait to watch it. It's gonna go right at the top of the queue as soon as it comes out. So, um,
It's probably the most anticipated TV show. We'll call it a TV show,
yeah.
other than Game of Thrones, I think.
Yes. Yeah, I would say so. I think everybody is going to be on there. Like, you are going to see so many things of people trying to break down that trailer and get little tidbits out of it that they can to try to figure out what's going to happen in it. I think it looks great.
And poor Will, I don't think that kid's ever going to sleep again.
No, God, he is like the most tortured kid ever. Um, I want to throw out one more thing, and
Okay.
this is a long ways down the road. It's 2019, but the Captain Marvel movie. Um,
Yeah.
so Marvel has announced, and they did this a while ago, that they were going to do a Captain Marvel movie, and San Diego Comic Con, a little bit more information came out of it, not a lot, but one of the things that I thought was interesting is they confirmed the villains for Captain Marvel are going to be the Skrulls. So this is interesting on two fronts. One, the Skrulls are a Fantastic Four villain. So
Oh.
either they were originally a Fantastic Four villain. So either Marvel has gotten some of that back from Fox, or maybe Fox didn't have them to begin with. That is interesting fact number one. Interesting fact number two is the Captain Marvel movie will be set in the 1990s. Before the
Interesting.
Avengers, before Iron Man. This will be the first prequel to the cinematic universe that Marvel's created. And it's going to have the Skrulls. If you don't know who the Skrulls are, they are shape-shifting aliens that have come to Earth, and they are the opposites of the Kree. They fight with the Kree, who created the Inhumans. Earth was a battleground at some point between the Skrulls and the Kree, and so the Skrulls are shapeshifters, and if what we're hearing is right, what actually comes out of the Captain Marvel movie, in 2019 we could actually see Skrulls in the Marvel Cinematic Universe shapeshifted as humans before Iron Man, before the Avengers, before Age of Ultron, before of everything else we've seen. Tell me
So
that doesn't sound like a setup.
that sounds like a setup, and that was my next question. What do you think they would end up being in the modern day
I
part of the Marvel universe?
Well, I think what's going to happen is they are setting themselves up for the possibility of bringing the Secret Invasion comic book storyline to the cinematic universe, which could be really interesting. In the Secret Invasion comic book story, Skrulls basically infiltrated Earth and kidnapped and hijacked superheroes. So, and in the comic books, I want to say Hank Pym was one of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The let's see, who were some of the other people that were Like there ended up Spider-Woman in the comic books ended up being a Skrull. Possibly even Captain America, maybe? I can't remember exactly. It's been a while since I've read those. But it makes me want to go back and this could be nothing. This could be they just throw this out there and then maybe they write this in down the road or whatever. But Marvel doesn't seem to do things by accident. Every movie that they've made has built upon a story and connected in ways that this thing is all brought together. So to me, it makes me almost want to go back and start and rewatch all these movies again and watch the heroes specifically and see when are they doing something that they shouldn't be doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, did they go and is this something they've been planning since the beginning, or maybe not the very beginning, but early on, going, hey, let's throw little Easter eggs in there that if you didn't know that they had the scrolls and that scrolls were there, that it wouldn't be noticeable, but once you know that, hey, there could be these people that aren't real, like, it's just mind-blowing.
Yeah, they may have planned it, when they came up with the 4 phases, they may have, at that point, made that decision. I guess we'll find out in a couple of years anyway.
Yeah, yeah. So, if for no other reason, that's why I'm excited to see this Captain Marvel movie that's not going to come out till 2019. But, man, it's really cool. I think this is a great idea. I love what Marvel has done with these movies and the way they're all interconnected and the way they all feed off of each other without having to be like encased in one another. You can watch Guardians of the Galaxy and not watch any of the other movies and enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy for what it is. But if you watch this, and this, then it will add to that Guardians of the Galaxy experience. Or kind of the case in point, the Thor Ragnarok movie. You'll be able to watch that and be perfectly fine watching that movie. And I think it's going to be a really good movie. Hulk and Thor battling it out, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and the San Diego Comic-Con trailer kind of saved that movie for me, too.
Yeah, that one looks really good, too. But if you watch the Avengers movie and how Thor and Hulk interact in the Avengers and Age of Ultron, and that's just going to add to the experience that you're going to have in Thor Ragnarok. So I think it's amazing what Marvel's done, and I'm excited. This Captain Marvel news has got me buzzing and my brain going crazy, and it makes me want to go back and reread Secret Invasion. So that's what I'm gonna do.
All right, the Secret Invasion. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, I recommend it. It's a good story too. It's really good.
Sweet.
So it also leads to the death of Nick Fury, I think. And then he comes back, so it's short-lived, but
nobody's truly dead.
Yeah. All right. I think that we've gone on long enough. We've gone on way long. It's over an hour now. We need to go.
There was a lot to talk about, though. So
there was. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. You go check out our blog, geekvice.blogspot.com. More stuff to come there soon, I'm sure. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/geekvice. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel, tiny.cc/geekvice, or you can do it from the Facebook page as well. Those will let you know whenever our new videos go up. We'll have a new video on Thursday. We are playing Starbound still. Trying to make our way through that game. And you can also follow us on Twitter. Of course, Twitter. You can follow me at Geekvice. You can follow that man at Kip Killigan. And email us. Let us know what your thoughts are, what you thought was great coming out of San Diego Comic-Con, or what you thought of Valerian. Email us at geekvice@gmail.com. We love hearing from fans, and you have a really good chance if you send us an email and tell us what you think, we will get it on this show. So, thanks everybody for listening to our ramblings. And a little teaser for next week, we have a special guest next week that we haven't talked to in a really long time. And it's going to be awesome. We'll leave it at that. Thanks for listening to our ramblings, and we'll see you next week.
Later, Rose.
This podcast is part of the Podcast Arcade Network.